What's up, nerd geeks and gamers alike? It's your boy Nerdy Nick, back with another episode. This week, we're going to be discussing collecting, why I do it, and why you should too. Let's get into it. As you guys can tell, I am all for physical media collecting, whether that be for systems like the Sega Genesis, the Nintendo GameCube, or even modern day consoles like the Xbox Series X, the PS5, or the Nintendo Switch. So one might be thinking, why do physical collecting in the digital world, right? There's a lot of factors that we're going to cover in this video. But number one, we'll get it out of the way and out of the obvious. It is the nostalgia factor. Right. So, with all of the old school games surrounding me, what I initially started to do once I began collecting was bucket listing all the games that I had during my childhood that I didn't have any longer, to try to recollect all those games so I can actually play them at my leisure whenever I want. And be surrounded with the nostalgia, be surrounded by the warm and fuzzy feeling you get in your tum-tum. You know what I mean? That nostalgia gives you. It delivers something that you just don't get with modern day stuff, right? These games, the older games, like, they take you back to a certain place in time in your life where it was probably, if you have nostalgia for it, a good time, a good memory. So that's like the first and foremost thing of why I say do a physical media collection, do a physical gaming collection. If you have games from your childhood that you want to hunt down again, I will tell you this, the thrill of the hunt, finding them not just online, because that's a little bit of cheating in my opinion, but going out to the shops and finding them in the wild, at conventions as well. It's the thrill of the hunt, and when you find it, you get this spark lit inside you, and you go, ah, I got it, I found it, hey, check it out. It's an awesome feeling, but yeah, nostalgia definitely plays a factor, and that is most of, I would say, people's argument when saying, oh, you just collect because you want to have your childhood stuff around you again. And it's like, well, yeah, duh, makes me feel good, not hurting anybody, I'm all for it. So let's move on to some other rational topics.
Real quick editor's note, guys. I'm getting the video edited, and I realized I totally forgot something that can help anyone out, whether you're a beginner at collecting video games or you're well seasoned into the hobby. Use your resources like pricecharting.com. I love price charting. It gives you a fair price for what the game could be, whether it's loose, complete, whether it's just a manual you're looking for, so on and so forth. It collects and pulls information from all over different websites and storefronts and stuff. So if you're at a convention and you're walking around and you see one game priced for this price, but you go to somebody else's booth and it's another price, use your resources that you have. You've got that smartphone right in your pocket. Pull it out, pull up price charting, and get a better sense of what the game should actually go for. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of the video.
My second reason why you should have your very own physical gaming collection is for games that you cannot play in the digital landscape. So take, for instance, 2010's Splatterhouse. You cannot find this on the PlayStation Marketplace, the Xbox Marketplace, or the Nintendo Switch Marketplace. I haven't checked Steam, I'm not much of a PC gamer, but hear me out. If you want to play Splatterhouse from 2010, you better get yourself a physical copy. And it goes a long way with saying, because there are plenty of other games that are on physical only due to licensing issues, deals expiring, and so on and so forth. It's an absolute blast to have these games to be able to play at your leisure. And it's another reason why I recommend getting games in their physical form for you to play. Now, on to my third reason of why I collect and why I think you should collect
physical games as well. It's very simple, right? So we've got consoles like the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X or S, whatever you're playing on. But we'll take Xbox's example of Game Pass. Game Pass Ultimate, or Game Pass, whatever it's called, is really good. It serves its purpose very well if you subscribe. You can play your games on the Xbox or the PC. But what I'm really trying to get at here is that you are virtually renting these games. Not for free, because you have to pay the subscription service fee. And at any time, those games can be revoked and yanked from that service. There's no explanation needed on your end, but they're gone. You might be halfway through Lies of P, for example, a Souls-like game where you play as Pinocchio. And you go, log on the system, and it's gone. It's no longer in the Game Pass library. You might have spent hours and hours trying to beat all the bosses, progress, etc., and now all of that was for naught. It is up to you now to buy the game. And who's to say a lot of the games on Game Pass don't even have a physical version of them. I will give Game Pass kudos because they do support a lot of indie studios, and there are a lot of indie games on there that I never would have played or heard of before. But it seems to me that Game Pass and PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch Online service are really testing the waters right now to see what the all-digital future looks like. It doesn't bode well for physical gamers such as myself, and I'm sure many of you out there, especially those of you who have tuned in to the Game Room Tour episode. This Game Room wouldn't exist had it not been for physical media, whether that be Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS tapes even, or my Atari 2600 collection, and so on and so forth. It's kind of scary to think that you'll own nothing and be happy with that. It's a concept I can't really grasp my mind around. It's so odd and bizarre to me, and I would really hate for that concept to come to life. It's something that really frightens me, because it can start in gaming and entertainment and potentially go elsewhere. But we're not here to talk about politics and real life horror stuff, right? So the services are great, but when one of your favorite games that you're playing and hooked on is revoked from Game Pass, it really sucks. And we can even talk about the Nintendo Switch, for example. With their online service that you pay for, whether it be monthly or a year at a time, they upload games at a snail's pace for you to be able to play. I'm grateful they're there, but on the other hand, man, sometimes it's like, why don't they just get some good quality games up on that service? Not to say there isn't. I love all the Mario titles, from the NES, SNES, and whatnot, but I'm not really clamoring to play Game Boy games at this moment, or Game Boy Color games for that idea either. And I don't necessarily like that you really have to pay extra to access the N64 games as well. I understand it and I get it, but it's a process that I don't know if I can accept. You know what I mean? Physical games really mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to a lot of other gamers out there, including yourself most likely. How would you feel if one day there's no more gaming sections in stores? And I know everyone rags on them, but what if GameStop just totally disappears? I know it's kind of the butt of the joke most times when people talk about GameStop, but we might actually be relying on that company more than we actually realize in the coming future of gaming. I know it sounds a little dark and grim of a topic, but it is a serious thing. I give kudos to companies like Premium Edition Games who are still out there spreading the good word, getting the cause out there, and keeping physical premium. And they're doing physical the right way. But these are my reasons why I collect and why I think you should collect too. It might be expensive, it comes in waves. Some systems that are hitting a nostalgia peak might be the most expensive right now. But the good news is there's games and systems that came out before that are relatively cheap and you can probably get great deals on. So let me know in the comments down below, what's your game collection look like? Are you all digital? Are you here for that? Or are you pro physical and keeping up the good fight? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget guys, we go live every Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Arizona time for the N Squared Podcast Live. And be a part of the show. Get your chats read live on air. You can also catch me on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'll slide that information right here. Thanks guys, I really appreciate you joining in on this chat, and I'd love to hear back from you guys in the comments. And until then, we'll see you next time.